All right, we're going to try something that might sound a little crazy. We're going to learn the basics of reading music in the next 5 minutes. Ready? Let's crack this code.
Have you ever looked at a page of sheet music and just felt your brain kind of short-circuit? Like you're trying to read an alien language? Yeah, you are definitely not alone. It can really feel like some kind of secret code meant for a select few.
But here's the big secret. It is nowhere near as complicated as it looks. At its heart, all music notation is a system for two things: pitch, which is just what note to play, and rhythm, which is when to play it. Seriously, that's the whole game. What and when.
So let's jump right into part 1, pitch. This is the what part of the equation, figuring out which notes to play from the highest highs to the lowest lows.
Okay, so the foundation for everything is this thing called the staff. Just think of it like a ladder. It's just 5 lines and the 4 spaces that are in between them. Every single note we're going to talk about lives either on one of those lines or in one of those spaces.
And the names for the notes? Well, it couldn't be simpler. It's just the first 7 letters of the alphabet: A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. And you know what happens when you get to G? The whole cycle just starts right over again at A. Easy.
So, how do we actually know which letter goes where on all those lines and spaces? Well, that's the job of this big symbol you see at the very beginning of the staff. It's called a clef. Think of it as the key to our musical map. The two you'll see most often are the treble clef for higher sounds like a flute and the bass clef for lower sounds like a cello. All right, here's a great little trick for the treble clef. The 4 spaces, if you count from the bottom up, spell out a word you definitely know. F-A-C-E. Face. That's it.
And the bass clef, it has its own easy-to-remember phrase. The spaces are A, C, E, G. And the classic way to remember that is all cows eat grass. So between those 2 little tricks, you can already identify any note that falls in a space on the staff.
Okay, so that covers the what. Now we need the when. Let's dive into part 2, rhythm. This is all about how long each note lasts and precisely when you're supposed to play it. Now, the foundation of all rhythm is the beat. It's that steady, underlying pulse that you feel in a song, you know? It's the part that you instinctively tap your foot to. It really is the heartbeat of the music. Different notes last for different amounts of time, and this is all shown by the shape of the note itself. The absolute best way to think about it is like a pizza. A whole note, that open circle, is the whole pizza. It lasts for 4 beats. A half note is, you guessed it, half the pizza. So it gets 2 beats. And a quarter note? That's a single slice. It gets 1 beat. But hey, music isn't just about the sounds you make, right? It's also about the silence in between. So for every type of note, there's a matching symbol called a rest, which just tells you how long to be quiet.
So we've got notes and we've got rests. But how do we organize them so they don't just become a huge chaotic mess? Well, that's where measures and meter come in. To keep everything organized, we chop up the staff into these small segments called measures, or sometimes you'll hear them called bars. You can see them separated by these vertical bar lines. This whole system just breaks the music down into predictable, bite-sized chunks.
So how do we know how many beats are supposed to go into each of those little boxes? We look at the time signature. It's that fraction you see right after the clef. And it's super simple. The top number tells you how many beats are in a measure. The bottom number tells you what kind of note gets 1 beat.
Let's look at the most common time signature in pretty much all of music, 4/4 time. Sometimes it's even called common time. So the top 4 tells us there are 4 beats in every single measure. The bottom 4 tells us the quarter note, our single pizza slice, gets 1 beat. Simple as that. Okay, we have our pitch, the what, and we have our rhythm, the when. Now it's time for the fun part. Let's put it all together and actually read this language.
Take a look here. We've got 1 complete measure in 4/4 time. We can see the pitch of the notes C, D, E, and F. And now we can see the rhythm. They're all quarter notes, which means each one gets exactly 1 beat. So you just play them one after the other, C, D, E, F, holding each one for the exact same amount of time.
And just like that, you've done it. You translated the code. Those symbols that looked so weird and alien just a few minutes ago are no longer just dots and lines on a page. You now know what they really are. They're sound, organized in time.
You now hold the key to a universal language. You understand the 2 biggest pieces of the puzzle, pitch and rhythm. So the only question left is, now that you have this key, what music are you going to unlock first?